What's up? This is Simon Stone from Heavy Mojo, StoneJonzon, been worldwide doing hip hop, Atlanta based. Decatur's always gonna be home. What really inspired me was watching people do ciphers, watching cats just come off the head and be able to just create these words and landscapes. Just really blew my mind as a kid. I remember being a kid in Indiana before I moved here. You didn't see a lot of hip hop. We would catch it on like MTV Raps and stuff and be amazed that this whole movement was going on. Then when I moved to Atlanta, and met my boy B Dirty from Heavy Mojo, big up. We would cipher a lot, and then there were places called like Mecca back then. We would have to sneak in. We were too young to get in there, but we would sneak in. And actually Divinity, who plays bass for Beyonce, she was a bass player there. It was just a big scene and a big movement at the time, and it just had me entranced, and I couldn't let it go. Haven't been able to let it go since. Actually, where the Stone in my name came from, Buck Wildin' by Chuck D, it's actually Terminator X, but it's all Chuck D and Sister Soldier. The first time I heard Buck Wildin', I remember I was actually getting yelled at for not washing dishes because I could not focus on anything but that television. It came on MTV Raps. It was like his voice sounded like the voice of God to me at the time. It was like the biggest things. That's where the Stone and Simon Stone came from, that line. He goes, "Brother known as Stone" upon the microphone. That touched me like deep to my core, man. My soul was moved by that song, A lot of times I first started writing for other people, and I started doing like beats. I was like the only guy in my neighborhood with a drum machine. My uncle Al gave me a drum machine when I was young. And like I was the only dude with a drum machine, so a lot of people have to come to me to get beats because, not like now where anybody with a laptop now is a producer. It was hard to get your hands on the drum machine. So I had a drum machine and a ASR 10 before anybody had them in the neighborhood. So I was making beats for people and writing, hooks and writing, lyrics for people who had, money to pay for it, and eventually that got me a name for writing stuff for other people. Then I came into some situations where people wanted me to be on the songs with them. I really wasn't interested in being an MC at first. I just wanted to do beats. I didn't really want to even be seen like that. But then the bug hit me after being on stage a few times freestyling. I was like, okay, I got to do this, It was weird, especially there was a time when all I did was tour. That kind of freaked people out, like, you gonna let go of that good job to go out there on tour, you know what I'm saying? Because, we toured the world, so it was like, people like, you got a good job, though, So I always had, I got a degree and everything, so I always had like a regular job. So a lot of people didn't like it at first, but then like after a couple TV appearances and like, okay, I'm flying overseas, okay, I'm finna fly here, finna fly there, they kind of calmed down slightly. But at first, no, they were kind of like, the hell wrong with you, man? So my first idol was Chuck D. When you start with Public Enemy and that's your foundation, you can only, you can only give root to some fruit that is, gonna be uplifting and, wanting to do something positive for the community. So for me, it's important that I don't do ratchet music. I'm not giving you, I'm not talking about anything disrespectful. I don't use the B word at all. There will be no disrespect to women in my music, so things of that nature. It's important for me to do because my idols never did it. My idols, X-Clan, your KRS Ones, these people were the people who kind of gave me my insight on the way an MC should be, and, even the Run DMCs, the De La Souls, and Tribe Called Quest too, really big influence on me because they looked like me. They weren't thugs, they didn't kill people. These are people like me, so. My biggest challenge has been because my band was always seen as rock, just getting away from genres and being able to just create music freely and enjoy making music, where it's not a thing of, I'm making a rap song for, the clubs or whatever, just making music free where it doesn't have a genre. It's just a good music. Enjoy it and listen to it. The average kid has everything in their iPod. Why can't I make everything? Why do I have to be limited to just don't put guitars on it, don't put this type of keys on it, don't put that type of 808 knock on it? I should be able to do whatever I want to do as long as it sounds good, Being able to go overseas is the most thing. Being able to step on foreign soil and play for people of different cultures and different backgrounds that have never heard of what you're doing, and they love it, that to me is just a thing that shows that music is that universal language that everybody can speak, no matter what, they may not even be able to speak English and understand, but they understand, they like what you're doing, That to me is the biggest blessing that any human being can have. We were in London and we had won this big battle of the bands, and we were going to party, but the whole city shut down at like 1. So this guy grabs us like, hey, y'all want to go to the Loop? Come on. He takes us to this bomb shelter underneath the photography store. And like, there's a whole party happening in a bomb shelter. And this is clearly a bomb shelter. It's like canned goods from like the 50s up against the wall. And there was one way in and one way out, this little corridor. So if anything happened, we all would have been dead in there. And but we partied till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. And it was, what made it so crazy is that we're literally in this little confined space and everybody's kind of hunched over, drinking at this makeshift bar that was actually like the beds that people were supposed to sleep on. I want people to remember that I wanted to unify all people. I didn't want it to be anything where it was only this group of people or that group of people. I wanted every human being to feel comfortable and feel that they could approach and be part of what I was doing. I don't want fans, I want family members. I want my family to be in every country, every race, creed, you know, background, you know, be you whatever you are in your personal life. I still want us to be able to come together and make a joyful noise. That's what I want to leave behind.